What is up, you guys? It is your boy Keeper Real. I want to thank you guys for tuning into today's video. I hope you are having an amazing day. Now, before we get into the nitty and the gritty, we're going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3. So, if you did not know, Baldur's Gate 3 is a role-playing game made by Larian Studios, and it is a very well-received game. It's a very good game. It's a very in-depth game made by a small studio. This isn't CD Projekt Red. This isn't Rockstar. This isn't Activision. This is small group of people dedicated to their craft, making a game and pouring their heart into it for the fans. That's why it took them so long to release this juicy piece of meat everybody can bite into, even if you're not a fan of turn-based combat and the RPG type game. This is a game you should try out. It's a very welcoming experience and it's very fun. I'm having a blast. Now, with that being said, that's my opinion. Go try it out for yourself or go watch some reviews. See if you like it. Give it a try. But I'm going to support this company. They're very small and they're dedicated to their craft. And they're making things that are better than companies that have millions and billions of dollars to pour into a game. GTA 6, where you at? So let's read a little bit about Baldur's Gate 3. An ancient evil has returned to Baldur's Gate, intent on devouring it from the inside out. The fate of the Furin lies in your hand. Alone you may resist, but together you can overcome. And I'm going to stop it right there because too much juiciness. But look at the Metascore real quick. So unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of time to send out those review codes because the game, they worked on it till the last minute till they released it. So only about 4 critic reviews. But then you bounce over to the user score. And it's very similar to the 4 critics. 9.3 out of 422. That is really good. That's a really good game score. It is. I mean, what other games are made by small publishing companies that's not like an indie 2D game that has those high praise from the community? There's pretty much nothing I can really complain about the game because if you know what you're getting into, it's very worth it. So, let's read right here. When will Baldur's Gate 3 come to Xbox? Obviously, it's going to be on the head titles, all of that stuff. On any website you go, look this up because it's a big deal. It's a big deal because we're supposed to be in the next generation and it feels like we are getting sidelined and we were just fed an upgraded PS4 and Xbox One. Honestly, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed with this entire generation of consoles. We're almost in our 4th year of having these consoles and next year will be 4 years. You know, considering how fast they're releasing these consoles, that might be half the lifespan or 2/3 of it. We may only have 2 more years with these consoles before they try to pump out a new one. So I don't think we've gotten any game that is worthy of being called next gen. Honestly, PC has been holding it down in the game realm. We get some exclusives like Final Fantasy, God of War, Starfield coming out, Spider-Man. Those games, those are the rock solids. But in between those wait times for those games, we have not been getting anything. So Baldur's Gate 3 is very important. So the game is currently slated to launch on Windows PC and Steam Deck on August 3rd. Wait a second. Did you guys just hear what I said? The Steam Deck is going to have this game before the Xbox Series S. So, and on the PlayStation on September 6th. So, if you did not know, this game was delayed on the PS5 plenty of times. Larian is a studio that does not want to release a broken game, and if you're like me, you would much rather prefer that a company keeps delaying a game over and over again to release the best possible product to spend my money on. Because I don't want to pay $65, $70 after tax, sorry for the Canadian bros, and then get a half-done game, wait months until it's barely playable, and then wait a year until I can have fun with the game I bought a year ago. No, that's not it. That is why I like games like Elden Ring, where you just buy it, play it, end it, play it again. So, Baldur's Gate 3 delayed on the PS5, coming earlier on PC. So they were set to release about the same time, and then they delayed it for the PS5, which is great news. But at least they have a release date for the PS5, which is September 6th. Now we go to the loadout, talking about potential Xbox Series X and S release dates, and it goes to 2024. Now, if you know how a game's lifespan is, You know, when it launches, it blows up. If it's really good, it'll stay very, very populated for those first few months as people are starting to beat the game. And then about that next year, you're going to have people that love the game still playing it. But the people that just bought it casually to join in on the hype are going to buy other games. That's the unfortunate reality. Spider-Man's right around the corner. You don't think half the people that are playing Baldur's Gate are just going to disappear? They are. It's the same with every single game. It's not a Baldur Gate curse. It's just how it is. We play games, finish them, and move on. And those people that love a game will stick there and keep nurturing their community. You know, like Dying Light. Dying Light was out for years, but people who were still playing it, so they kept feeding us. Keep feeding us DLC, and the game lived for so long. But that's not the case with every single game. Take Call of Duty, for example. Call of Duty hasn't been the same since last generation. I don't think we've gotten a good Call of Duty in the PS5 Xbox Series generation. So the moment that those games are cut off, they're cut off entirely. Who plays Modern Warfare 1 anymore? The remake. Who plays that? The reboot. Nobody. Who's playing Modern Warfare 2? Nobody. Everybody's going back. You're either playing Warzone or you're going back. You're not really sticking to these games because they don't support you. The community doesn't support them, so you just got a bunch of people that don't want to cooperate, and that's when companies lose. Baldur's Gate, I could see it living for years, but you miss out on that big old spark, that an initial sale, when you're showing something and you're right at release and everybody else gets it except you, the hype for that game dies down substantially. This game will come out after Starfield. You think those Xbox players are going to wait for Baldur's 3? And not get Starfield, not dedicate their time to those Xbox exclusives? No. And that's a failure on Microsoft. They said they want to bring games to their other consoles. Okay, we completely understand. But the parity rule that you got going on is not a parity rule. You're excluding your own customers. So the parity rule basically says if a game is on Xbox Series X, it has to be on the Xbox Series S with basically the same features so the people on the S are not missing out. I understand that you're trying to keep them on a level playing field so it doesn't feel like the X is substantially greater, but it is. It is. Say it how it is. Delay the S version. Let those Series X buyers play the game. Let them buy the game and enjoy it before all the hype dies down and then their friends don't want to play it with them. Or their friends have already played it because they play on PC. That's a big deal. So, Michael Dowse is the publisher of Larian Studios right here. And his Twitter X, I don't even know what to call it. His quote, because it's not tweets anymore, says, "Hello friend. We've said many times in the past that the issue is getting split screen working on the Series S, which is taking more time, but it is in progress. This is a huge technical hurdle, but we are unable to release the game on the ecosystem without this feature." He continues to say, "Far from being exclusive, we have no exclusivity deal that prevents us from launching on Xbox. The issue is the technical hurdle. We cannot remove the split screen feature because we are obligated to launch with the feature parity, and so continue to try and make it work." Okay, so he basically just said what I just said. I said what he just said. It's not necessarily about it not being able to run on the S. It is the fact that you have to have the same content. So that's like people saying, hey, the PS4 just died out. You guys know when a new console comes out, new generation, they try to do it. They try to feed the PS4 and Xbox One people so bad that the games, you can tell that they didn't feed their creativity just because they wanted to be able to let those people on the PS4 play. I understand to a certain extent that people have to be introduced to your game. You want more sales. However, when a game is supposed to be a next-gen title and it's severely held back by the hardware limitations, software limitations, whatever limitations, everything has a breaking point. The PS4 cannot handle God of War Ragnarok. The PS4 cannot handle Spider-Man 2, and it's probably coming out. I'm pretty sure it's coming out on the PS4, but it might get delayed. It might look trash. And I mean, you go play GTA 5 on the PS3 and you tell me how big of a difference it is now on the PS5. GTA has withstood a lot because it looked bad in the first place. I mean, it didn't look bad at the time, but now go back to the PS3 and Xbox 360. So the reason I got this pulled up is because the Steam Deck, if you did not know, is a portable device made by Valve. Wait a second. A portable device is able to play the game, but the Series S and X versions has to be delayed because of a feature. See, people that buy it on the Steam Deck are not planning to do split screen. People on the Steam Deck are buying the game to play the game. I'm sorry. Split screen will not kill somebody if they have a Series X, Series S. If they have a Series S, they probably cannot afford another controller. I am not trying to say anything, but who buys a Series S? Hey, so maybe a parent buys it for their child so they have a cheap next-gen console. I completely understand that. But those kids are not buying Baldur's Gate 3. You know who's buying Baldur's Gate 3? People in the mature rating. There's nudity when you're doing character creation. These aren't little kids, and if people have an issue with it, they can find a workaround. There is a way to get what you want, and if you're willing to get it, you can have it. So if you're going to delay a game, tell people they need that parity, at least just give the people that have the console that can do it a chance to experience the game at its peak. What are you doing making them wait? I can hop on my Steam Deck and play it right now. Oh well. Looks like the S players can't enjoy a potential release. They don't even know if it's coming out on there. X players can't even play the game because the S is holding it back. And I remember having conversations with so many people about the Series S. Oh, the Series S isn't going to hold next gen back. It already has plenty of times. It's not necessarily that it's a bad idea of a console. It's the fact that it's a console that is much weaker and they have a parity rule. So if they make a game Xbox exclusive, they also have to make it Series S exclusive that looks about the same, runs about the same. I mean, what does that do? You can't tell me that the games on the Nintendo DS look the same as the Wii. Yes. Oh, maybe a 3DS looks at the same as a Wii, but you remember the DSi and the Wii? Yeah, both have Mario. They had different Marios for different reasons, because you can't always enjoy the game how it was meant to be enjoyed on the weaker console. The Series S is great if you want to play COD, 2K, Madden, FIFA, etc. But when it comes to exclusives, that juicy hardware that you have inside the Series X should be used to its max potential. There is no reason to just throw away all that nice hardware people paid money for. They pay $200 more to get the same experience as somebody with a Series S. That is unfair. In your own ecosystem, that is unfair. The point of the Series S is to be a budget next-gen console, not to be a hindrance for the Series X, which it has become. Before I leave you guys to have a wonderful Saturday, let's look at the specs between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. And then maybe we can come to a conclusion about why Baldur's Gate 3 is being delayed. Okay, so they got an 8-core AMD Zen 2. Okay, we already see it has less gigahertz. All right, let's go to the GPU, AMD RDNA. Okay, look at that. Already less gigahertz again, less GPU power, almost a third of the GPU power. Actually, it is a third of the GPU power. Okay, RAM. Here is where I'm thinking all that Baldur's Gate issue is. 16 gigabytes of GDDR6, 10 gigabytes at 560 gigabytes per second. Whoa, 10 gigabytes GDDR6, RAM 8 gigabytes at 224 gigabytes seconds. That's substantial. I don't know if you're if you are not educated on this topic, but let me just give you a little rundown. RAM is important. RAM is essentially what is running all the processes of a device. Without a suitable piece of RAM, you might as well kiss that device bye-bye. If you go and that's a big reason why companies do not update their old devices anymore. For a great example of this is if the first iPhone got updated to the current iOS, it would probably overheat and die. Why? Because it doesn't have the power capacity to withstand the processing need of the software. It's the same thing with every PC, with every laptop. RAM is a very important factor, which is why a big thing in the whole next gen, you guys remember when they were releasing these things, was 16 gigabytes, a GDDR6. Man, that got everybody crazy because the PS4 only had like 6 gigabytes. The Xbox One had like 8 gigabytes. So games were very limited as to how much processing power they could pull from the hardware. The Xbox Series S is not much different than the last gen console. Yes, it has a few upgrades, but it's not much different. You can probably run games if they were unlocked. For example, on the Xbox One, you could probably run games about the same 1440p. I mean, you may get 30 FPS, but who's going to get mad when you already get 30 FPS on a Series S? Okay, storage, 1 terabyte, that doesn't really matter. Expandable storage. So basically, the big chunkies are right here. RAM. RAM is a very big deal. Series S, give it an update. Tell the people that own a Series S that, hey, I'm sorry, Xbox. There's really nothing you could do to recover making a weak console. Yes, a great argument is they're trying to include people in the gaming realm. But I have friends that have PCs that can barely play Minecraft and they could still buy Baldur's Gate. They could still buy Baldur's Gate. Yeah, they might not play split screen, but they could still buy the game. I have friends that have amazing computers that can run Baldur's Gate Ultra, 4K, 8K, don't matter. I don't know their capabilities, but they can run the game at Ultra settings, 60 FPS and above. It's just disappointing to me. This is not inclusivity in the gaming realm. This is excluding people from getting to enjoy a game with their friends. Microsoft, take a hint from Larian Studios, who's having issues developing for the Series S. Have a step back. Take a step back and look at your exclusives. Is this why Starfield is only running 30 FPS? Is this the real reason? Because Bethesda has to make the game capable of running on the Series S with the same frequency that it does on the X, so it's seamless? Nope. Those people paid $200 extra to get $200 more of power. Allow them to experience the game at the full capacity. We know that Xbox Series X can handle Starfield. The S, on the other hand, oh my goodness, 10 gigabytes of RAM. Whoa. It's probably a big indicator as to why that game's releasing at 30 FPS and why Xbox exclusives have been releasing at 30 FPS. Ragnarok is 60 FPS. PS5 does not have a limiting factor. The Series S is a liability. Take this how you want it, guys. But if I was you, I would not spend my money on a Series S. I would probably go build myself a $300 PC in the hopes that I can upgrade it down the line, because it seems like Xbox is about to acquire big companies, but they're not taking care of the people that already bought these consoles. We haven't really seen a decent Xbox exclusive. The Game Pass is awesome, but feed your consumers, please. Feed them. With all that being said, have a wonderful day. Remember to leave a like and subscribe, and keep it real.